Lead us off. Welcome, friends, one and all. We're very proud to share with you one of the themes of the upcoming friendship course. And to do that, we've invited our great friend and our now colleague, Cormac McCarthy, to talk about one of the very beautiful aspects of friendship, and was one that Cormac that you really spotted as well too, and that's around the how children make friends and the beautiful, tender, shy, vulnerable approach where a child in the playground will go to someone and say, "Can I play with you?" or "Do you want to play with us?" Friendship and that invitation to play is something that's so important and that we lose as we calcify and fortify our egos in adulthood. And we just stand in the corner waiting for someone to approach us when actually what we have to do to make new friends or to even revive old friendships is to say, "Hey, come on, do you want to go play?" So we're going to talk about that. And Cormac has some beautiful memories as well, too, of coming to our house growing up. And our house with Noreen and our father Mihal was a great house for music, and where adults would come with their instruments in boxes and cases in order to play. That's what they were there to do, to play music together. And Cormac has lovely memories as a kid coming to our house, and so I really wanted to have you share some of that background, Cormac, with us and how that's feeding into this course on friendship. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I remember coming to that house as a small child, and entering in the front door, and you guys were a little bit older, so you always wanted to be able to kind of play with the big kids, but you're always kind of thought you'd be consigned to the stairs, but when you entered into that house, and I suppose it was something that both your parents really created, was this idea of togetherness and communion and that everybody would kind of be brought in and involved. And I remember your father kind of master of ceremonies on the piano, and bringing everybody in, and this idea of not necessarily kind of playing in harmony, but this idea of playing in unison, that idea of coming together and you know. Uh, yeah, just and adults and children, everyone of all ages. And I think that's really a beautiful part of the Irish tradition around music. Everybody is included. The idea of the session, you know, and playing together, it's the unison that is important, not necessarily being in perfect harmony. And that was something I always felt. And, coming back to Drumore again and again and again and
Mm,
experiencing that, it just kind of solidified that wonderful experience.
lovely. Yeah, the musical instruments really make our social structures more visible, you know. If you come with something to offer, you're plugged into the mainframe. And of course, so many of us, there's so many cliches around friendship, but so many of us, it's so many of it. So we've heard so many times it talked about forgiveness, that you forgive your friends far more than you ever will. But also when you mentioned the master of ceremonies, there are so many of us in our friendship, it seems to me, we try to structure the scenario too much. But of course, with true friendship, it's all about kind of not having to do that, isn't it? It's about, when you can really relax, when you can disarm yourself and you don't feel that pressure to ask leading questions, to interrupt someone, to keep the conversation going. So that from your point, almost the opposite. The comfort with silence is a real sign of friendship too, isn't it? I suppose that this theme too that we're looking at is at the start of this, the initiation of friendship. And so, as we get older in our adult lives, as we fortify the ego, you're not going to make any friends. Nobody's going to approach you with a closed down posture or visage and say, "You look like you're a barrel of laughs. Come hang out with us." So the importance is imagining a child in a playground approaching someone and saying, "Would do you want to play with me?"
Mm.
And that approach is the mechanism to initiate friendship or to reignite a long-standing friendship that perhaps
Yeah.
has atrophied or become apathetic in a sense. And yeah, I met a great new fella here in the village, and he's my own age. And I just got on really well with him at an event. He's a filmmaker, a real cool guy. He just moved into the village about a year ago, and he's just a guy I want to be friends with, you know. And so we exchanged numbers, and I had to literally say like, "Come on, let's hang out." And we had breakfast. He's a father as well, and so time is precious. But I said, "Let's have an early breakfast together. Let's we'll leave the wives at home doing the breakfast duty, and we'll head out and have breakfast together."
Nice.
And we had the best time, and we were just exchanging ideas and projects and things like that. And afterwards, we've since been exchanging like invitations. There was a movie on Sunday, and I couldn't get to it, but it sounded really boring anyway, so I didn't go. And but that idea, but having to initiate friendship, I think,
Yeah.
and the approach through. So one of the things that's really important is, as you were saying, Michal, having the instrument, the artifact of exchange visible. So one of the things we're inviting people to do is to approach this course preparing a party piece. That could be a song, a poem, even a piece of visual art or something to show and say to
Yeah.
someone, look, check out what I do. What do you think? Do you want to play? Do you want to be friends? And you're showing someone something. You're entering into that space of vulnerability, that space of invitation. And another thing that we're doing with this course is if you buy a ticket to this, you can send on an invitation to as many people as you want. So that's another beautiful way to extend a hand of invitation to someone in your family, a friend, a new friend, or an old friend that you want to kind of reestablish a shared experience with.
Now
So
we do. I think we have a Zoom limit for 5,000 people or something, Owen. So if you bring in more than that, let us know in advance.
that's great. So we are looking forward to this. So that's the first theme is around friendship and play and the childish uh, approach. And we will send out a message about the next theme. Um,
And perfectionism is a great enemy of friendship too, isn't it? That we're always waiting
Mm.
for the right time to call someone with the right invitation. But of course, just the power of pure conversation, unlike yourself, just sitting down with someone, and just allowing the conversation to ignite, and not have lots of questions lined up. Just hang out. I love that term, hang out.
and pick up the phone. That's how it happens. It takes a bit of
Yeah,
work. It takes a
yeah.
bit of
Yeah,
work.
I think that idea of kinship, it's not through shared blood or ideology, but it's through that kind of shared attention, shared rhythm, shared play. And that's really kind of at the heart of it.
So come play with us for two-hour sessions, Thursday and Friday. When is it, lads? Mid-July or something?
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure. Details.
17th and 18th.
Great stuff. Talk to you later, lads.
Take care. Bye now.